We are a few days away from saying goodbye to 2020. We started the year with a virus from China, and we'll end the year with our nation in constitutional crisis. 2020 is undoubtedly marked by wars with invisible enemies. The war is not about Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, not between Democrats and Republicans. It is a battle between good and evil, between right and wrong, and between freedom and communism. Robert Spaulding, a retired U.S. Air Force general, calls it a stealth war. He said that we're in the middle of a war waged by the Chinese Communist Party. America is being attacked. Sidney Powell calls it a virtual Pearl Harbor. About 80 years ago, the Japanese Empire launched a surprise attack at Pearl Harbor. Their Navy sent a fleet of over 300 airplanes and destroyed almost close to 20 U.S. Navy ships and about 300 U.S. airplanes, and 2,400 Americans died in the attack. Right before the attack, America had been, for the most part, sat back and allowed Japanese to grow militarily in the Pacific region. So this attack totally took us by surprise, but it led America to declare war against Japan, so we joined World War II. Similarly, what's happening now is the same, because we're paying the price for the previous administration's lack of understanding of the Chinese Communist Party, which has infiltrated our country through deceptive means: spies, espionage, bribery, and corruption. But if you really compare Pearl Harbor to the 2020 attack by the CCP, the 2020 attack is 100 times worse than Pearl Harbor for 4 reasons. The first reason is that Pearl Harbor took place on an island of the US. It's on the island of Hawaii, whereas the 2020 attack by the CCP is taking place all over America. Look at the pandemic. And look at the systematic voter fraud. I mean, it's rampant throughout our country, right on the mainland. And the second reason is we lost, dozens of ships and hundreds of airplanes, but the loss in the 2020 attack is much more worse and much more detrimental. What we lost is the integrity of our political process, the legitimacy of our election results, and the trust of our people in our government. And the third reason why it's worse is that the casualty, is much greater than the 2,400 lives we lost. The pandemic itself has cost at least 300,000 lives. And then on top of that, the moral depravity, the moral corruption of our corporate media, of some of our elected officials, and the big tech companies, that's our real casualties. And the fourth reason, which is the saddest reason, it has the pain and the suffering that we're all enduring is, and this pain is going to be going on for a while. It's the division of our country. Our enemy has turned Americans against each other, and they are taking advantage of this division, attacking us. This is just like what happened in China. The Communist Party has always turned people against each other. This is one of its so-called strategy or scam. Look at what happened during the Cultural Revolution. They turned the Red Guards against scholars, against writers, against business people. Children were turned against their parents. Husbands have to divorce their wives because they belong to different class of people. So communism has always used class struggle. They always turn people against each other. And we Americans need to really stay alert and not fall into that trap. Napoleon once said, "There lies a sleeping giant. Let him sleep, for when he wakes, he will shake the world." Now, Napoleon was referring to China when he made the sleeping giant analogy. But I think China is sleeping giant no more. It is a live and kicking monster. And I think America is a sleeping giant. And we've been sleeping when the monster is attacking us. The good thing is the giant is waking up. 4 years ago, when Americans elected Donald Trump to the office of the president, the giant is waking up, or started to wake up. So it's not late for us to fight back, and we must fight back because we cannot afford to lose our freedom, and we cannot lose this country. Now, I think we'll win this war. We're freedom fighters, and America is the land of the free and the home of the brave. When the Pilgrims came to this country seeking religious freedom, they have laid the foundation for this country, and there are two words: faith and freedom. So fighting for freedom and faith is in our blood and in our DNA. This is the American spirit that the globalists, the socialists, the communists fear the most, because they know that they cannot win a battle. They cannot win a war when they fight with people who love freedom and love God. And that's the reason why the leftists burn our American flags. They change our history and they attack our faith. America is a country of faith. So we are the largest Christian countries in the world. And our dollar bill said that in God we trust. We have so many great stories about how America overcame adversities through our faith. The first story that came to my mind is during the World War II. There's a famous American general. His name is George Patton. He was the American general that the Germans feared the most. His Third U.S. Army, which had about 250,000 soldiers, decimated a total of 1.5 million Germans. In December 1944, General Patton's troop was preparing for a crucial battle. They needed good weather to win, but the weather did not look like it would clear up. General Patton asked all of his soldiers to pray, and 250,000 cards bearing the prayer were distributed to all of his soldiers 2 days before the battle. Guess what? The weather miraculously cleared up for 6 days, and the Allied troops won a decisive battle against the Germans. If you look at American history, every time America was attacked by foreign forces, not only we won, but we also became ever more stronger. So, the first story is Pearl Harbor. After that, we joined the war, we won. And then after the war, we experienced 20 years of unprecedented economic boom, and America became the richest country in the world. Same thing happened during 1898 when America fought with Spain during the American-Spanish War. It was a very short war. It was only 10 weeks. But after winning the war, America emerged as an international player and entered world affairs, and also experienced 20-year or over 20-year economic growth until the 1920s. So that seems to be the pattern. America should not be run by those who hate this country. It should be run by those who love this country, by someone who can stand up to communist China, not by someone who has been corrupted by communist China. As Americans, we shouldn't be divided, even though we might have different political views, because coexist with different political views, that's what democracy is. So when we are together to defend our country, we will win this war. And I think our collective love for this country will win over the hatred. And that's the ultimate reason why I think we will win this war. Thank you for watching. Please like and share this content, and please subscribe. See you next time.